Merkin says, would you trade Debo and draft Watkins? That is such an interesting question. Now, I don't think I would, but let's talk about how the Niners could reunite Christian Watson.
Which Watkins is he talking about?
Is he talking about, he say Watkins? Let's say his name is Watson. I'm going to pretend your name talking about Watson because we need to talk about what. It seems to me that the number one draft eligible player on the Niner fans' radar is Christian Watson from North Dakota State. Would you agree?
Yeah, but I think it's for a reason that makes a lot of my friends who, follow me on Twitter because they've known me for a minute text me like, man, because of you, I see all these stupid football takes and Niners Twitter is all over my Twitter stream and all of that.
Well, explain this to people who are new to the party.
Well, yeah, the reason is the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. That would be Trey Lance and Christian Watson. Well, Jamar Chase was looked at not by me. I was wrong about that. Sadly, I'll take my L on that. But Jamar Chase was looked at as one of the best receiver prospects we have ever seen coming out of college. Joe Burrow was looked at as one of the better quarterback prospects we've seen. Probably the best one since Andrew Luck, honestly. He was looked at that way.
They were both rated very highly by NFL Network, NFL.com coming out. Both of them, yeah.
Yes.
And
this is not the exact comparison. My thoughts on Christian Watson, I have not watched anybody in college really so far. I was supposed to start that like a week ago. I didn't want to do it, so I haven't done it. So I have not watched Christian Watson's 2021 season. I watched a lot of Christian Watson in 2019 because I watched every game and every throw Trey Lance made in college. And I remember talking about Christian Watson last year when we were talking about the draft process. And, some people were saying, well, Trey Lance didn't have the greatest weapons. And I was like, well, I don't know who number one is. But number one is a freak. Number one's making play after play. Number one's fantastic. And I remember specifically I was talking about Josh Allen versus Trey Lance that comparison on Eric Crocker's show. And I remember saying that I don't know who he is, but he's the Devontae Smith of the FCS because that was right after Devontae Smith had the greatest college season ever and won the Heisman. Little bit of hyperbole, but my point was that number one was a dominant football player in the FCS. And then you fast forward, he gets a lot of buzz in the Senior Bowl. Croc was saying back then already in 2020 that people were saying Christian Watson runs 4.3, 4.25 all day. And then he goes to the combine and, he blazes it up. He runs fast. He's big. He's everything I think that people are looking for in a wide receiver. In fact, I think he's going to be a top 35 pick. Like, I haven't really watched a lot of the receivers. I haven't watched a lot of college football. But, 6'4", 208 pounds, fluid athlete who also runs 4.3 usually goes pretty high in the draft. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to go pretty high in the draft. I know how you're going to say this can be reunited, so I'm going to let you have the honor of saying that. But I think
it's just a suggestion. It's just a suggestion, and I know we have all offseason to talk about this stuff, and I don't expect to change Niners fans' minds. But if you do want to get Christian Watson, there's some options. Someone at the beginning said trade Debo. I don't feel good about doing that. Debo's your best player in your team right now. I kind of want to keep Debo for now. I'm more into trading George Kittle, and I've explained it for weeks. I think my points have merit. You can agree with it or not. But if you're on my side on here, how about trading Kittle for this first round pick and spending it not on a tight end? You could get Austin Hooper or Tyler Higbee. You could get someone. Why don't you get Christian Watson? Because for a few reasons. One, I think Trey Lance is going to be targeting wide receivers more than Jimmy. I think maybe if you want to replace the impact that Kittle had in the passing game, you might want to do it with a 3-receiver set, not with a tight end. That's the first thing. Two, they do have a rapport. Even though I'm not saying it's Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, it seems like it couldn't hurt to bring that rapport back. I have a feeling teams are going to try to do that. That's the second reason. And the third is actually if you trade Kittle with that post-June 1, what you can do is use that money that you saved then to sign your draft class. So that frees up money to spend now. So those are 3 reasons that you might want to consider trading Kittle if Christian Watson you feel like is someone you really, really, really believe in.
Yeah, so you're talking about a scenario that the Niners look at Christian Watson as a can't-miss, best receiver in the draft, slam dunk draft.
He's unfortunately a late first-round pick, right?
As a guy who watched
not that kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't think he's that kind of guy. I did not watch his 2021 yet. I do not think he's that kind of guy.
So I would not.
So I would not do any touch George Kittle at all to get him. But let's say they do. I think it would be a bad move. In fact, I think it would really hurt them in the run game, because let's say he does, and he's good enough where they got to get him on the field. So they got to be 11 personnel offense. Well, let's look at the Rams as the example, as a team that majors in running an 11 personnel offense that wants to be committed to running the football, right? With Jared Goff. What makes the Rams, special, able to run the football? Well, Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are two of the best blocking receivers in the NFL. And it's not just, like Juwan Jennings or Alan Lazard being able to block the guy in front of them. It's being able to make a lot of the blocks Kyle Juszczyk makes as a lead blocker, where you have to make the correct decision and, have good pad level, have good leverage.
And especially an outside guy, that tight end is the lead blocker, essentially.
So that's one thing that worries me, because George Kittle's blocking is A+, A++, A triple plus.
It is when healthy. But what I'm saying is, I think what's really going to help the run game isn't necessarily their tight end blocking anymore. It's going to be the 11-on-11 football. And I don't think they're going to be doing as much outside zone anymore with Trey Lance. I think that's why they drafted Aaron Banks and Trey Sermon. It didn't come to fruition this year, but when you're playing 11-on-11 football with the quarterback involved, it's not really attacking that outside zone as much. I'm sure they still do it.
I mean, I think they're going to – the Shanahan offense majors in attacking the bubble, attacking outside. They want to win the perimeter. I think they still will.
I'm sure they still will, but it's not – they're not going to have the best blocking tight end in football anymore, because even with that guy last year, 16th in yards per carry. Even with that guy last year.
But you think the quarterback will make a difference? You think the quarterback's going to make a difference? And then the other thing is, if you're going to run an 11 personnel offense – I mean, we have to talk about the quarterback a little bit, right? If you're going to give him Christian Watson.
I'm not saying an 11-on-11 offense. I'm saying Debo's going to play a lot of running back. You'll have Ayuk and Christian Watson and Austin Hooper out there. I mean, you could still do 21 personnel with this team.
I guess. Okay. But still, I think that it does become a point of, I still don't think this is going to be a pass-heavy football team next year. Trey Lance was not that in college. He was not really asked to throw a lot in the drop back pass game. He averaged 17 throws a game his one season starting in the FCS. He had games where he was 7 for 10 for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's just a vague stat line, but it was something like that. He had 11 for 14, 125 yards, a touchdown. That was 3 quarters for Trey Lance. They were blowing him out. He didn't play the 4th quarter, but they were running on 3rd and 8. It was not an offense that, just Trey Lance, Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech throws 68 times a game. So if you add another, when we're talking about the receiving value, there might still not be that many pass attempts and pass targets to go about, where having the best tight end who blocks in the game makes a big difference, especially if you're trying to win a Super Bowl.
If you told me that Kittle would play, if you told me Kittle would be relatively injury-free the next 2-3 years, I wouldn't want to trade him. I'm not saying he's not good anymore. He's great. But I don't know about that. So I'm saying if you've come to the dark side and you haven't, you are adamant in life. If you come to the dark side and you feel like, you know what, I think it makes a lot of sense to trade Kittle, then you're at the what would you want for him? And I think Christian Watson is among the top of your.
This feels just like last offseason for me when you started the don't pay Trent Williams, and then I'd come on here and you'd be like Riley Reif, Alejandro Villanueva, and people in the comment section would just be yelling at you, and you'd be steadfast and I'd be steadfast, and then I'm gonna just have to go with I just look. For me, and I'm a fan, right? You're not a fan, so you don't have the passion I do about this.
Hold on, don't tell me I was wrong about Trent Williams just yet, because
I'm not saying you were wrong. I'm just saying the situation
his contract in either this year or next. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to start next year. He's going to get $26 million a year. So let's see how that goes when he's making.
I'm not saying you were wrong. I brought up that example as something where Niners fans are just getting really angry, and the two of us are on the opposite sides of it. But what I will say is, I'm emotional about this, right? I'm a fan. You don't have that emotion, and where that emotion comes to play is that I'm not interested, in 2025 anymore. Fair. I think the Niners have created a window to win the Super Bowl now. We're already 3 years into this window, and there's not a Super Bowl title. And here comes Trey Lance, and Trent Williams is going to turn 34, and Kyle Juszczyk is going to be a little bit older, and Kittle is nearing 30, and Debo Samuel's about to get his second contract, and Nick Bosa is about to get his second contract, and Fred Warner already got paid. And by 2026, we might not have this core, and, you might have a lot more assets, but there's no way of assembling the same exact core. I'm saying in 2022, what's the best way the Niners are going to win a Super Bowl? And that best way to me, no matter what, unless you're getting another Hall of Fame level player, because whether Kittle makes the Hall of Fame or not, he has played like a Hall of Fame level player for 4 or 5 years in his career so far. Unless you're getting that as replacement, to me, there's just no feasible and thing that makes sense about trading George Kittle.
Because he's gonna get hurt again, Vish. He's gonna get hurt again. His lower body's breaking down. He's $16 million a year. I hate to say that, but dude, the pattern. I'm just saying he's gonna get hurt again. The odds of him getting hurt again are higher than the odds of him not getting hurt again, and that's what scares me so much. I know you can't say that because you're fans and stuff, but dude, sorry, 29. Look at his legs. They're bird legs. I'm gonna call him the Birdman from now on. His name is the Birdman. The Birdman. Birdman.
You think you could beat him in a 40 with those legs?
No, I'm old as hell now. I'm hella slow. Raven says, unpopular opinion, but good option. Trade Debo for some very good compensation and conserve money. Trade Jimmy Garoppolo and build weapons for Lance via free agency and draft. The thing about trading Debo is, what would he be worth right now? I think he'd be quite a lot.
Yeah, I think he would be worth a lot, but then
quite a lot.
But again, it goes back to this idea of, don't you want to win now with the guy? And so if you're going to trade Debo, then that better mean because it's going to be that you're going to cut the $27 million check for Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I would think so again.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. You have to trade him for a proven commodity, another, and you're trading him because you're basically betting against him, replicating the season, staying healthy, that kind of stuff.
And look at it this way. The things that people are suggesting, this is what the Rams have been feasting on to create a Super Bowl victory, right? Oh, you want to trade Jalen Ramsey because you think you can do more with those 2 picks and get a cheaper guy at corner? Cool. We'll get the best corner in the NFL and, win a Super Bowl with him. Oh, you want to, trade who else? Marcus Peters because he's a malcontent. You don't want to pay him. Okay, we'll take Marcus Peters. Like the Rams, like trading Debo
but
and
they're
not
investing
getting
in guys like D Ford, like the Niners.
Right.
I'm trying to avoid the next D Ford situation here, Vish.
Right, but my point more or less is that if you're going to trade one of your star players, do not get picks back.
I feel that.
You better get something.
I feel that. Unless you guys want to sell us on Christian Watson, because I know people love him. David says, okay, people, Christian Watson ran a 4.28, not a 4.3. Just YouTube it. Video and at the combine, actual video with commentators. That is very fast. Can I say one thing that I like? I've just started watching Christian Watson. I know people, they say, like, I read his, they're not really very nice to him on his NFL scouting report, but what they say is he's not the greatest route runner. Okay, well, what I did notice for a 6'5" dude who runs a 4.28, he's really good after the catch. He's
really fluid.
He actually carried the ball, averaged like 8 yards a carry in college, and returned kicks. So I think he's probably going to be pretty good.
I thought it was 4.36 official, by the way.
Officially, they have a 4.36 on NFL Network, but unofficially had 4.28. I like him just from what I've seen. A big guy that moves that well with the ball in his hands is probably going to be pretty good.
I think the route running, especially because for a big guy, he's really, really fluid. I think it can be a learned trait. I think the other thing is the drop back pass game in the NDSU offense is not featuring, a bunch of diverse drop back pass concepts where he's running like 18 different routes.
Don't like the idea of trading Kittle for a first. The guy draft will always be under Kittle's shadow, like Kinlaw with Buckner. Yeah, unless Kittle gets hurt. I'm sorry. I keep having to say that. But it's like you're not trading 25-year-old Kittle. This is 28.5-year-old Kittle's different.
Yeah, but you also don't draft a tight end and have him wear number 85.
Yeah, I would not do that. I'm not saying get Trey McBride. I'm not saying get Trey McBride on that one. No.
And I also don't think that they should trade Kittle unless they're going to get, the only suggestion that somewhat makes sense, and obviously there's a lot of factors with it, would be if you're going to trade Kittle, and I don't even think I would do it, but to get a player like Xavier Howard. Yeah. And I don't even think I would do that. But to me, trading Kittle for a first-round pick for the 49ers in 2022 does not make them a better football team. Doesn't.
Well, it does if Kittle's, going to miss the season because he's hurt. Like I know you don't think that's going to happen, but I kind of think he's going to keep getting hurt, and it's going to be running. He's going to be running.
I don't think he's going to miss the season. I don't think
he's going to miss the season, but I don't know, man. 29, that's old for an athlete. Trade Kittle and Debo. Same worries about Debo. Here's the thing with Debo, though. I don't feel like his body's breaking down. Like Kittle, I'm like, I don't know, man. With Debo, I'm like, yeah, you're probably going to pull your hamstring again, but I think you He should have another 2 or 3 years. Although I guess we thought that with Kittle too. I don't know, man. Debo's an enigma. I feel like the Niners are in a tough spot here, especially since you know you're going to be playing at running back if you keep him. I say they go year to year with Debo. I don't think you can get rid of him. I wouldn't trade him.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? Just keep getting good players, not wanting to pay them because you're scared about athletes in the NFL getting injured and then not paying them? Like, at the end of the day, the Niners, like, look, the D Ford situation was not the best, but I also think that, that was a poor decision. Not a poor decision, actually, but I also think that D Ford had a history that was like really, really glaring. Like, we're talking about Kittle getting banged up, and we're talking about Debo. D Ford's was worse. D Ford's injury history stemmed back to his Auburn days. Then he had a season of like 12.5 sacks for Kansas City. Then he had a season where he was hurt all year. And then the season he did play and he did earn his contract, he was managing injury all season. It was well documented that he did not practice for a good portion of the season because they would
but he was
get him.
27. He had 13 sacks and he didn't miss a game. And the Niners made a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Brought him in at 28, and he's never been. He's played 18 games.
I think there were details with the D Ford thing that were even a lot more glaring than both Kittle and Debo.
I don't know. I think they're glaring with Kittle. And with Debo, I'm scared too because they're soft tissue injuries. The groin and the hamstring. He did it this year too. He just kept powering through. How much longer can he? Because Kittle used to be that way too. He get hurt. Doesn't matter. I'm playing through it. I don't know. Okay, we have to eventually.
He didn't play through it this year.
Yeah, but at the end, they got 2 catches a game. Currently, I have Watson, wide receiver, 8, grade second round. Seems like that's pretty much where people have him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Georgia safety Lewis Sign, you got to check him out. He plays fast on tape, ran a 4.37 at the combine, real physical, 6'200 pounds. Had a real brutal hit on Kyle Pitts in college. Oh, I'm sold. If you smacked up Kyle Pitts, he must be a baller.
Now, I'll watch him. I've seen him get some buzz. Some people were saying he's better than Kyle Hamilton on Twitter. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, I've been very lazy about watching this draft stuff.